Paterson is a beautiful small movie about a poet bus driver and the week of his life. And I absolutely loved it.
Your poetry is really good, and someday you might let the world read it. Look me in the eye. You are a great poet.
So this was directed by Jim Jarmusch, and it stars Adam Driver. And this is he's a poet that has a secret book that he writes in all the time, his poems, and that's the only copy he has, that's the only book he has, and he, like, his girlfriend always wants him to try to make copies of it and to try to get published, but that's kind of just for himself, even though it's kind of like his life's work. And it's a really interesting film because he kind of goes around as a bus driver, and you see like a lot of like people coming on, like he's listening to their conversation, and it's kind of like almost like people watching. And throughout the film, there's like a lot of these really interesting things that happen, where nothing. It's not like a overblown movie, but like the little like coincidences that sometimes happen in real life, but are like odd. And there's a very almost like a dreamlike quality throughout the film that was really interesting. He has a beautiful artist wife, and he has a kind of goofy dog, bulldog. And every night after he comes home, he takes the dog for a walk and hangs out at the local bar, and shoots the shit with some of his friends. And there's a lot of like really interesting things where they're set in Paterson, New Jersey, and apparently there's this one like famous poet that's from there that he loves. And like throughout the film, you see him like ordering kind of poems, and like you'll see other people that will come up and he'll like hear some little girl that also has a secret book, and then he'll hear a little poem from her, or he'll like he'll listen to a rapper like rehearsing while he does his laundry. And there's a lot of really like interesting little things that I can't say too much about without spoiling, but I might talk a little bit about in the end. And it's nothing like there's no real story to the film. It's just a week in this guy's life, but I loved it, and at the end it kind of like brought a tear to my eye a little bit. That is just like how it ends is so beautiful and it's so like unique. I mean, this film is incredibly unique. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen anything quite like it. I know I'd probably give it like an 8.75 out of 10, and I would definitely recommend it. Although, like, I mean, if it can be a little boring, but if you really kind of just give it some time, it's really an enthralling little film that I really enjoyed. And now, if you want to see what like a couple other things about it, it'll spoilish, you can keep watching. But like it's not like I may not do full spoilers. But I mean, any little thing that happens is kind of a spoiler because not that much happens. But throughout the film, there are these things that happen, and they just like Adam Driver, he responds. He doesn't say anything. He just kind of looks at what's happening, and you see like it's almost like the viewer and him are having like a secret conversation where we're both like noticing something odd about that moment. And like for them, at one point the bus has a full electronic malfunction, and in another movie it might be like an explosion or something. He has to save everyone on the bus, but for this it's just the bus just dies, and he just kind of sits there for a while, and he has to use one of the kids' cell phones to call it in to get a new bus in. And then when he's talking like three different people he's telling the story to, and they all say, "Oh wow, is it dangerous? I mean, could the bus have exploded?" And someone keeps saying that, and he keeps just you see him kind of look like when they say almost the exact same thing the person said before, and this kind of look he gives a look, and it's like that's it's kind of funny, but that's it explains it's just electronic failure, and it has stuff that happens like that too. I got the bar. Like you see, this one couple is kind of there's a lot of drama with them, And eventually, one night, he pulls what they think is a gun out, and was pointing at the girlfriend, and then points at himself like he's going to kill himself. And the Adam Driver tackles him and like wrestles the gun out of his hand and gives it to the bartender, and the bartender shoots the guy in the head with it. And they, oh, it's just a dart gun, and the idea, the whole thing that that what he did was so heroic, but it wasn't actually known within that in the actual danger. And in another film, that would have been real. They would have, their life would have been at stake, and that's like it was almost too real. Some of the things, like some of the things that happened there, is so real. And when his dog, like she's an artist, and see a really eccentric kinda, but she's a baker too, and she makes these beautiful cupcakes and take them to the farmers market, and they sell well, and they go out to see a movie, and they come home. Their dog has torn apart his book that has all of his poems in it, and he's like, the wife was begging him to go make photocopies of it, and he hadn't got around to it. And it's another thing would be he'd be mad at the dog, but he just kind of goes like he's empty, like his life is ruined, and he's just so sad, and but he can't be mad at anyone. And he goes to his favorite spot by a waterfall, and this random Japanese poet comes up and talks to him. And this moment is just so beautiful. I guess it's random, and it's a little like it's something that it probably wouldn't happen in real life. But the idea that he came to America to go to Paterson and see where this famous poet lived, the poet that Adam Driver is his hero, kinda. And the guy asked me, "Are you a poet?" And it's like, no, I'm not a poet. And he gives him one of his empty notebooks. And it says something like, "Sometimes an empty book provides more inspiration than a full one," or something like that. And then he writes his first poem in this new book, and it's kind of I loved how it ended, and it is so interesting. But it's not a normal film. Like, it's not like nothing's normal about it, but I really loved it, and I would definitely recommend it. So you can check out my other book movie reviews here and here, and thanks for watching.